Welcome to the Soul Science Nutrition Podcast, where you'll discover that when it comes to your health, you're so much more powerful than you've been led to believe. And now, your host. She's a holistic nutrition and lifestyle coach, chef, author, and yogi, Christine O'Casey.
Hello and welcome to Soul Science Nutrition. I'm Christine O'Casey. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I am so excited to have a wonderful lady on our show. This is Lois Kramer Perez. Lois is the queen of Feng Shui. Lois is truly a rock star in her community and brings a deep and impressive skill set, including hypnosis, meditations, chakra balancing, 5-element theory, and past life regression, among other things, to help people live more conscious, empowered lives. Lois left a successful career in the fashion industry to follow her calling and has since devoted her life to being a light in the world for helping people have more peace and balance in their homes, in their business, and their personal relationships. Lois and I met about 10 years ago now when I was doing my first wellness fair. And I have to tell you, I was so immediately captivated by her beautiful energy. She exuded radiance and fun, and she just made you smile. And if you ever met her in person, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. Lois is gracious enough to come and tell us about her journey of personal transformation with food and healing. So we're going to explore some amazing themes in today's conversation. Number one, how our immediate environment has a profound effect on our health and our life. Number two, the connection between Feng Shui and the subconscious mind. And finally, the importance of understanding our true nature. Hey, Lois, welcome to Soul Science Nutrition. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thank you, Christine. I'm so excited to hang out with you, too.
It's always such a pleasure to see you. So let's jump in. Lois is a rock star, as I just mentioned a bit ago, in her community. And I want to educate people the range of modalities that involve Feng Shui. So Feng Shui, I hear you saying, I Feng Shui people, places, and things. Tell me about that.
So what I've learned about Feng Shui, it's such a powerful modality. It's transcended cultures and thousands of years. The principles behind it are more than just where you place your sofa, what color you paint your room. Those are very important things, but it's the connection. It's how we marry our environment to who we are. So it's, what is our space telling us? How do we relate to our space? And who are we? Do we choose to relate based on who we are or who we think we need to be? So it is such an interactive connection that is so, so powerful. And learning how that your space leaves clues. How do I read those clues? And how do they relate to me? Because we have to look at the whole package. It's not just my space is here and I'm over there. When we're disconnected from anything, that's when we find there's a gap and we're not connecting through our true, authentic self.
Okay. So it's kind of a misunderstanding when people think it's really just about the organization of where we put our stuff, right? It's a lot deeper than that. So how would I know? How would I know if I should be considering my environment, to change if I'm having what kind of issues am I having in my personal life that might be readily addressed by working with these principles?
So you might find yourself stuck where you can't move forward, whether it's to take an action, to do something. Maybe it's a project. Maybe it's just stuck in general in your life. You might find a resistance of some sort. You might feel as if you're being blocked. You might feel something just isn't feeling right. You don't quite know what it is. And then we can look at ways to see what the clues are.
So the clues would be in our immediate environment and basically how we're feeling.
Yes. And your connection to what's happening in your life. So as an example, if I worked with a woman who was having issues in her career. Things seemed to just have been stopped. She felt like she was locked down. The word she was using, I feel locked down. I feel locked into this position. Nothing is really moving. So as we walked around her space, she had a beautiful little home. I started asking questions. So tell me, how do you come in through your house? Oh, I drive in through the garage. I park my car and I come in through the garage. Okay. Well, do you ever use your front door? Oh, you know, it's really funny. For somehow there was a problem with the lock when I bought the house, and we never had keys, and I just let it go, and I never dealt with coming in the front door. I just didn't pay attention because it was wintertime, and living in the Northeast, it was easier to just come in through the garage. But now it's beautiful and sunny, and I noticed, gee, my bushes are all overgrown in the path, and it's just not inviting. Well, the front door can represent our life journey, our career. So by keeping that locked and not taking advantage of using that energy of coming in and letting that get overgrown, it's almost as if we're locked down. We're not identifying, we're not looking at what could be happening in that part of our life. And maybe there was a purpose for that. There may have been a purpose that was important to not go there right now. And that's okay. But once we recognize, hey, I have an opportunity, not only did she fix the lock, she got a new door. He cut down all the shrubs, made a beautiful path. And although that wasn't her mode of entering her home every single day, by creating the opportunity to be able to use that door, to open it up, to have people, when they came to visit, to come inside through that way, it started to open up opportunities in her career.
Thank you. Okay. So you used the word of flow a lot, and opening and getting things moving. So what have you discovered when it comes to working with these principles and the different healing modalities? What's the role of the energy flow in terms of creating the results? How would you describe that energetic relationship?
So let's look at our bodies. And when we're healthy, all our blood is flowing through our bodies. Everything is getting oxygen where it needs to be. And what happens when you get clogged? You might go for acupuncture to open up the meridians. You might go to the chiropractor to open up the meridians. You might go for a massage to open up the meridians. You might stretch every day because you've been sitting too long at your computer for hours and hours on end.
Right.
You might find when things get stuck and nothing's moving, you need to open up the vessels so you can move. And what does Einstein say? My pal Al, he says nothing happens unless something's moving. And there are so many ways we can get our bodies moving. You taught me through nutrition, through eating healthy, whole foods. What goes in can nourish our bodies. I love all the work we've done together. It's had such an impact because I want my body to be able to understand what's coming in so it knows what to do with it. About your homes. Our homes are like our bodies. If there are areas that aren't being used, if there are places where things are blocked that we can't get to, then energy's not moving, there's no flow. How is that relating to parts in our lives? Do you have a spot in your home where no matter what you do, piles of clutter just seem to reappear? Every time you clear it out, all of a sudden another mountain happens. Like, how does that happen? Like, what the heck is going on here? Well, I worked with a woman, one of my very first clients, who had just started dating after her husband had passed for about 2 years. She had two young boys, and she was telling me this story how her biggest problem was the relationship with the boyfriend. He really wanted to get close, but she wasn't sure if she wanted him to get that close because he wanted to help her with the kids and be supportive, but no, I'm in charge of my kids. I don't want anybody helping me. So we're having the conversation, we're walking around, and when we get to her bedroom, she goes, and see this corner? No matter what I do, every time I clear up whatever's in this corner, I turn around and there's a mountain again. So I said, well, let's take a look at where this is in your life. And we noticed this particular section of her life was related to her helpful people authority area. So in Feng Shui, we can actually take a diagram of our floor plans of our space and see where does that relate to the different patterns in our life. So we call this using the Bagua map of our space to look at how it relates in our life. So laying this map on the home, she was concerned about allowing this man to help her, support her in her life with her children. And she made the decision to not continue the relationship. It was too early in her life to do this. Now, I didn't tell her to do this. I gave her questions about her life, and she put the pieces together by bringing to light what was happening, by noticing there was a mountain here stopping. There was a mountain creating a blockage. And where in your life are you being blocked in helpful people and authority? So how can I look at this from a different point of view?
Anything that we are able to shift our perspective on, right, opens up an opportunity for a shift, a new possibility. Yes. I love this. Okay. So when it comes to, if you can think back to your life, and working, when you decided it was time to focus on your nutrition, on that environment, right? That internal environment, because it was impacting your external environment and vice versa. Tell me about your process for that around food.
Well, looking back at what my self-image was, I look back throughout my lifetime and always having a similar conversation with myself. Oh my gosh, I'm so fat. Oh my gosh. Look at me, I'm so fat. I need to lose weight. And then the universe said to me, all right, you've been saying this for years. We're going to show you what it's like. Like, how many times do you have to say something before you attract it and you become it? So what happened when I had a very traumatic event in my life, when my husband of 19 years suffered a heart attack and never recovered, and everything went spinning. The gift he gave me was the gift of finally deciding I needed to get out of the grief, that I couldn't stand it anymore. And through that pain, I decided I needed something different. And that's where my journey through Reiki and Feng Shui and the energy dowsing all began. But along the way, I found that I was self-medicating, that I would work. I was in the fashion industry, so the world of never enough. And I would work from 7 in the morning till 10, 11 o'clock at night. I found a 24-hour Burger King. I would go through a drive-through at 11 o'clock, and I'd eat my Whopper in bed or whatever those burger things were. And then on the weekend, I would get myself all set up with food. To what can I order from the pizza place? Well, I can't just order pizza. Well, I'll order pizza and a meatball Parmesan hero and whatever to amuse myself over the weekend. And I found all of a sudden I woke up one day and I didn't fit into my clothes. I just kept getting bigger and bigger. I didn't even know how it happened. and it felt horrible. It just felt horrible. And I just couldn't stand it anymore. And the universe puts in front of us the tools for us to grab to make the decision that we've had enough. Mm-hmm. And when the universe put you in front of me when we first met, was it a coincidence? I don't think so. It was the beginning of a beautiful relationship that really helped support me to start looking at things differently and to realize you're not supposed to do this by yourself. What you don't know, you need to find someone who does. Mm-hmm. And as I learned the 4 stages of consciousness, we start out unconsciously incompetent. We don't know what we don't know. Then something happens and we decide, ooh, there's something I see that I need to find out about. Mm-hmm. And then I go and find some way to consciously change something by doing something and taking an action. Until I become unconsciously competent, where it just becomes part of the same way I can get in my car and drive every day. So you were such a beautiful light in my life to show me the way. And what I loved about working with you, you never told me what to do. And I share this with people to this day. I remember sitting back in Charlotte's Stone Yoga in our circle of beautiful women. And you said, I'm not going to tell you what you can't eat. But what I'm going to suggest is after you've finished everything that I'm recommending, then let me know if you've got room or if you have any desire to do anything else. So by giving us the tools and the knowledge and the benefit of what we can do to feel good about ourselves, there was no shame, there was no blame. It was a very different way to look at things. So that combined with the Feng Shui and the dowsing and whatever else I was onto was such a gift of knowledge, of education, of having the map. The same way I have a map of my space, I had a map from you, a map to my body, to what is my body telling me, and how you put it all together. The same way I Feng Shui, people, places, and things, you give us the nutrition for our bodies, minds, and souls.
Oh, thank
how
you.
Everything is connected. It's not just here's the paper, do what it says.
Yes. And so that's where I think we really are onto the same thing here, which is it's a truly holistic view
Yes.
of our existence, of our being, our health, being in these bodies, being in this time-space reality, right? It's how everything is interacting with everything. And it's important because oftentimes don't we get so pigeonholed, right? We think cause and effect. And once we're able to kind of have that wider purview, oh, this is how the universe works. And I love you bring that up so beautifully. The universe showed me and I opened my eyes, and what was unconscious became conscious. And then I could just educate myself and find the tools and take the action. And I think it's really in the way that you're able to give them a bigger purview. Right? Because isn't that really what we need? Is we just need to change the way we see things. And then who said it? I think it was Wayne Dyer, right? You change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Does that sort of capture it? Yeah.
I love that. That really does capture it. But if we don't know there's another way to look at things, how do we know what to look for?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
We can't fault ourselves for our unconscious incompetence.
Right. So much in the dieting and the food and health world is about blame, is about shame, is about, not enough, can't do enough, gonna get it wrong again. Right. And that's a pattern in of itself, wouldn't you say? Because I know, Lois, you work so much with breaking people out of old patterns. How did you address that in your life? Because you said, oh, I'm so fat, and there was just a lot of shame going on. What was your process for unhooking from that?
Well, this is where the Feng Shui, combined with my energy dowsing, my energy clearing, made the difference. And what really opened my eyes through the Feng Shui was more than just arranging my space and getting a new bed and all the Feng Shui things that we typically do. I realized I wasn't a bedroom set kind of a girl. I thought, and no one told me this, I didn't read about it, I don't know where this came from, but I thought when you grew up and got married, you bought a bedroom set and lived happily ever after. Well, Ray and I were married 19 years. I never bought a bedroom set because I could never find one I liked. So I had a bed, I had a stool with a lamp, I had a pedestal with a thing, I had a nice table, but no furniture. And then when I started studying Feng Shui, I went out and bought a bed. And that's all I did. I bought a beautiful bed that I loved. And then a year later, I bought end tables. And a year later, I bought a dresser. And I realized I'm not a bedroom set kind of a girl. I am looking for something that isn't me. And just because I had that idea that I had to get a bedroom set doesn't mean I needed a bedroom set. I needed to find a way to create my bedroom to support who I was. So now, whenever I get stuck, I think, oh my gosh, I'm not a bedroom set kind of a girl.
Perfectionism, right?
Right. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Put it up there, get started, and then change it every day if you feel like it. That's okay. Every time you get a whim, do it different.
So much freedom, right?
Just do something. Yes, yeah. Just do something.
Just do something. And then that's, again, another thing that we get stuck on when it comes to our food and health and our self-care is we got to get it right. We got to eat just the perfect way. We got to move our bodies just a certain way. I mean, there's so much of that, all or nothing, right?
And all the conversations that say, oh my gosh, I did everything wrong today. I guess I'm just going to give up.
Right.
Now everything's ruined. I can't go back. I'm done. And is that old pattern rearing its ugly head? Is it time to let go of another layer? Look at that as an opportunity to say, oh, what can be different this time? Who do I need to call? Like Ghostbusters, right? You got to get your team. Oh, I got to call Christine. Help me. Help me.
That's awesome. I love it. What I love about the lens that you look at stuckness or self-sabotaging patterns is it's with the lens of curiosity, isn't it?
Yes.
It's kind of like, because you did that a few times, like, what's really going on here? Maybe is there something for me to look at differently here? And almost with the Feng Shui, that's really what you're being asked to, assessing your environment, assessing how you're feeling about yourself, i.e. your environment, right?
And you bring up a point that I want to share. So in Feng Shui, we look at our space, we look at the person, we look at these elements. There are 5 elements in Feng Shui that we relate to. They're in our space, they're in the people, they're in nature, they're in the seasons, time of day. So if you feel bored, if you're flat, if you're like indifferent, if you just don't know, we want to get some fire energy. What is fire energy? Fire is fun. It's curiosity. It's exciting. What can I see differently? Turn on those lights. Let's start laughing. What's a great way to get out of boredom, right? Is to start laughing.
Yes.
You look at the Chinese animal archetypes and they talk about the monkey.
Okay.
Well, where do monkey shines come from? The animal monkey archetype is a curious animal. Yes. And when this animal gets bored, it gets into mischief to kind of amuse itself. And if people don't read it right, or if it gets too out of control, the mischief can be not so beneficial.
Yes.
But sometimes we're too serious, which might be metal. We may get too serious. Metal perfection. What does a metal ball do? It can't move. Right? It's this serious perfection. So what do we need to do? Get some fire energy. It can soften the rigid metal. Get some fire energy and start laughing. Then I'm not so serious. I don't take myself so serious. When I get stuck, I go, oh my gosh, I'm trying to be perfect. Well, I'm not a bedroom set kind of a girl. I don't need it to be perfect. And I start laughing at how ridiculous I was. And once you're laughing, then you can start moving.
Again, more flow,
yes.
More energy moving, right? Awesome. Now, I know you've worked with such a wonderful range of challenges. You've worked with people who quit, smoking and have other addictive behaviors around food. Mm-hmm. People who can't sell their house. I mean, people who are, again, in relationship and struggling, whether that's in their business or their personal lives. What's the overarching goal when it comes to a client?
To see where they are, where do they want to go, and how can I help them get there? Mm-hmm. And what I love about my toolbox, as I look to elevate myself, what's my next level? Something will catch my eye. And the same as you're doing, Christine, I'll sign up for another course to learn something, to go deeper, to go to that next level. And then it becomes an opportunity to help my clients get to where they need to go.
Awesome. What's the role of awareness when you're working with a client?
My role is to be the catalyst for my client to see what it is, the possibilities that they have to make these changes. And my philosophy has become, if there's something you want to release, plan what you want to replace it with. Because if I choose to release something without a plan of what I want to put in its place, my subconscious will only go by the messages I'm giving it. So if I'm working with you, Christine, and I want to change something, if I'm constantly telling myself, oh, you're so fat, you better work with Christine, you want to get rid of that weight, no matter what we do, if I have that conversation in my mind, it's going to sabotage what we're doing, because it will come up with another way to defend an old belief. So it's finding ways to make choices to what I choose to be and speak in the beneficial terms, do things in a beneficial way, which is why the Feng Shui can help us create a living vision board.
Beautiful.
What messages I want to keep sending myself without being conscious of it. Because the mind doesn't know the difference between a memory or if it's actually happening.
Yes.
So if every day I come in my house and I can't open the door because it sticks and I'm like, ugh, feel stuck. Or if I come in and see something that makes me go, oh, I hate the way that looks, but I just won't notice it anymore. Before I even go in the door, my body's going to react in the way it's expecting. So if I can change the things that I see on a regular basis to give me the messages I truly want my subconscious to hear, to get everybody in there, all on board. Okay, we're defending this.
Right.
That's the magic,
That's
which
beautiful.
is why affirmations are so important. When we put an affirmation on our mirror when we wake up in the morning, and the first thing I see is, I am healthy. I feel great. I feel good. I love my life. Little things we can do to remind us how we want to start thinking. So it becomes part of that new automatic expression. And then all those parts inside that are waiting for instructions, they have a job to do.
Yes. 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 And everybody's, all green lights, right?
All green lights. All green lights.
That's awesome.
And you help us repatterning that by making choices and filling us up with all this goodness that there's no room for the other stuff. You just can't fit it in anymore. It just doesn't fit. When there's no room for it, there's no energy to it. It has no way to survive.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I like to talk about upgrading and replacing, finding healthier versions of your favorite foods, because again, that's all, as you said, in the beneficial dialogue, in the beneficial script, not the deprivation, negative, shaming script. Right. And so it's not just, positive for being positive, is actually creating these changes in our bodies, in our brains, right? That make life or moving through life a lot easier, right? Isn't that kind of, again, going back to things are supposed to flow?
Yes.
Right? Things are supposed to be in harmony. That is the natural state. So you mentioned the 5 elements. So let's take a specific problem. Let's talk about binge eating or mindless snacking at night, because we all know at the root cause on this show we talk about is emotions or unexpressed emotions, blockages, right? How do we use the 5 elements and the Feng Shui principles? What are the tools that you like to share?
So if someone might be binge eating, say at night, mindless eating, it could be a source of comfort, a way to fill a need that isn't being filled in other ways. So one clue might be they are so comfortable, all they want to do is feed themselves, and they're feeding their space. So if their space makes it too comfortable for them to want to move, if I'm surrounded by so much stuff, I just want to cocoon in the middle of my stuff, it's easier to just fill my needs with food, and that becomes a mindless habit. So then there's a part of me that is connecting to that. This is how I serve myself, feeding myself, comfortable in my couch, surrounded by my stuff, and that's serving a purpose. But if we look beyond, I might look at, there's so much stuff around me, maybe I need more space to move. And when I get too comfortable and I get stuck and I just want to cocoon in, what I will do is I'll do laundry, because I have to go up and down and up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm moving. So now this earth energy that becomes like a mountain, that's all about comfort and cocooning and getting stuck. You take the energy of the trees. What do trees do? The roots come up to the earth and they kind of aerate the earth so the earth can breathe, so the earth can move. So when I get stuck and I get too comfortable, I do laundry to get myself moving. I'm running up and down. Yes. So that could be, going outside, going for a walk, doing physical exercise. So everybody has their connection to what they need to do, whether it's getting on a bike to spin or on a treadmill or an elliptical, or maybe it's jumping rope or getting on a rebounder or running up and down the steps doing laundry.
Awesome. Okay. So shifting the energy by taking awareness of our environment and how we feel. in our
Yes.
bodies.
Yes.
Huge.
And another example, when my brain gets too cluttered.
Yes.
So in Feng Shui, our closets, our drawers, our storage are our subconscious. So I'll go and clean out the silverware drawer, and that'll take me 10 minutes. And if my brain is still kind of fogged up, I'll go in the whole closet, and I'll just make sure the coats are lined up. And wait, what are all these shoes doing here? And maybe their stuff got thrown on the top shelf. The top shelf is our future. You don't want to have junk in the future. You want to be mindful what you put up there. The past is the bottom. What am I hanging on to? Do I need this? Do I not need this? What purpose does it serve? So going into our subconscious by cleaning out drawers or closets or small things, going in my underwear drawer and organizing all my stuff in there so it's nice and neat.
Yeah.
Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not affecting you. And depending on how sensitive you are to your environment, the things you don't see may be screaming even louder than the stuff you see in your space.
Oh, I love that. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not affecting you. Doesn't that have so many wonderful meanings behind it?
Just because you don't talk about it doesn't mean that's all that's going on your mind.
Yes. Oh, digging deep. I love it. I love it. What inspires you these days? And we're clearly, you and I were talking earlier before we started the interview, there's a lot of energy going on right now. It's just tumultuous. And if you're particularly sensitive to begin with, there's a lot to process. What are you doing for yourself, Lois?
Well, people don't realize how sensitive we all are. People that may not have even recognized that they can feel energy are feeling it now. And they're deciding that it's them. They're oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad. I'm so angry. I'm so scared. Oh my gosh. So what I'm doing is, whenever I feel this, because I've had my days where I feel like I'm going in a black hole, and I'll say, wait a minute. I've been training for this for years. If I would have been experiencing this before I made the transition, when I was still just working full time, and I had a much different perspective on how I did every day. Everything kind of drove me versus me driving it. So what drives me is to be here to serve others. What can I do to show people there is a different way? What can I do to help shift our focus and have something ready to replace it? Because if I'm going to release fear, if I don't decide that I am light, that I am safe, that I am healthy, there may be another thought floating around that's going wild on its own, being triggered by the collective, that may decide, okay, I let go of fear, but now I'm angry. Or I let go of fear, but now I'm impatient. I let go of fear, but now I'm insecure. So I want to be ready to choose what I want to be when I release something. And look at it as, this is bigger than me. Look at this. This is, what am I contributing to the collective? So that's how I become inspired. And I look for books that fall on my feet, things I haven't looked at in years. Oh, wait, I forgot about this. I forgot about that. And have some passage, some quote inspire me that I can share with others.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. That's like shifting, right? Again, just sort of acknowledging, okay, might be some other choices here.
Yes.
Available.
We always have a choice. We forget. We always have a choice. It may not feel as if there's a choice. It may feel that this is all I can do, but we always have a choice.
How do you get people to connect their thoughts and how they're feeling in their bodies? Because that's the step to changing the energy or to taking action.
Conversation. Conversation that we have that is very loving and compassionate. Shifting our focus of blame, shame, and judgment. Learning how to use compassion to imagine what it might be like in someone else's shoes. Because we don't know where someone is coming from. I tell a funny story. When I was doing ballroom dancing, I was dancing. It was the first competition with my new teacher, and I was so excited. And we're spinning around, and I smacked him really hard in the face. And all I could think of through the rest of the routine, oh my gosh, he's going to hate me. He'll never dance with me again. What did I do? I'm a failure. Oh, my life is over. I'll never dance again. I get on the floor, and I went, Jerry, I'm so sorry. He said, why? I said, I smacked you in the face. He said, you did? I didn't even notice it. So here I was. I created a whole dramatic story.
All in our mind.
All in my mind.
The things that we make up.
So what do we take personally? So I always go back to Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four.
Yes. Yes.
That was one of the very first books I read through my transformation back in 2003. Four simple agreements. He says it so well.
I love it.
Speak with integrity. Don't make assumptions.
Yes.
Don't take it personally, and always do your best.
Yes.
Four simple things. But they sound simple, but how are we already programmed? How many times we go, oh, I'm so stupid. I'm not stupid. It's these conversations we have with ourselves. Think about when you recognize someone who's beautiful. If I say, oh, Christine, you're so beautiful. I love what you do. Guess what? I could not recognize that in you if I didn't already have it in me.
Yes. Yes. That's such a beautiful reframing on what we want to experience in our life, right? Yeah. So I always say that to my clients. I say, because they'll say, oh, and that person's so amazing and they are so inspiring to me and I love what they all are about. And I'll say, that's because that's in you. You wouldn't be able to see that. That wouldn't resonate if that wasn't in you, right? And so it's that beautiful connection, as you said. Because sometimes I think on our journey with food and health and understanding our bodies, it can be very isolating. So what I love what you're saying is this interconnectedness is so expansive, right? We're part of something greater. As you said, it's so much bigger than me, right? Yes. And it's this perspective that is the essence of this show, really, that we need to tend to this subtle part of our being, this unseen universal energy, that life force that bridges our mind and our body, our soul. What is your relationship with the soul? What is the soul in your work and in your life?
I think it's that moment where everything just is. It's that connection to yourself where everything just is. It's so big there are no words. I'll call it your MC Hammer moment. Right? You have those moments where you feel so amazing that it's like, you can't touch this. Nah. MC Hammer moment.
Awesome. I love it.
I could see, oh, here comes Mary walking down the street. You know what? Her eye rolling, her expressions, nothing she can do can touch me today because I am just so full. Well, if you can have those moments, just a moment, to feel all that, it's in you. Then you have the opportunity to be that whenever you choose. So when you have those moments, how do you get more of it? How can I recreate this? How can I make that my default? So when I do get a blast coming at me, I don't get lost in it for weeks on end or hours on end or days on end. We want to recognize everything, but we want to choose how we respond.
Yes.
And that's that connection to your soul, to understand who you really are. I'm not a bedroom set kind of girl, so I use that all the time when I think I have to do something a certain way because that's how I think and I can never find out where that came from. It was stories I created myself based on my perceptions of what I might see in other people, in other situations. Believing I had to get up at 6 o'clock every morning and get moving because that's what I thought successful people did. But I'm a water person. I need to float. I can be available with the tree people that are like they wake up, their eyes are open and off they go when I have to, but I don't need to be that every day. I can learn how to manage and be myself on purpose and then become adaptable as I need to be productive.
I love it. So coming home to who you truly are and honoring all the differences and all the unique aspects of who you are.
I remember I had a really good friend of mine who was always cooking for herself. So I said, I want to be inspired. You look like you're having so much fun. And we cooked a bunch of things and I wrote it all down. And then I came home and I put it in the drawer. However, I will take your cookbook.
Yeah.
And I can use your methods because they fit with me on how to prepare things. It's not like cooking. It's like putting things together that look pretty, that taste good, that fill me up.
Love it. Oh, that's such a great reframe also, right? So finding what works for you.
Yes, finding what works for you. Not everybody has to be that kind of person, but you can still feed yourself and be nourished in your way. Yeah, it's freedom.
Yeah, it's really freedom. I mean, that's so interesting because all the principles that you're embodying and teaching people are about embracing their unique journey and honoring everything that may be the same or different. Right? Because I mean, we so much when it comes to our bodies, we're constantly comparing ourselves, judging and measuring and gauging ourselves by all these supposed standards. Yeah. So let's wrap up here, Lois. What I'd like to ask you to do, if you would, is if you could leave our listeners with just some practical guidance on, during these really challenging times, what can they do to begin to get back in the driver's seat of their life and create the best health for themselves?
Take a breath and notice what you're feeling. And look at every feeling as a message, as a special delivery message from the universe that gives you an opportunity to make a choice. So, for instance, I'm feeling really sad. What is that telling me? Where is it in my body? And if I want to decide, well, thank you for showing me this sadness. There may be a sadness because I'm unhappy with the situation. There may be a sadness with something out of my control. But if I stay in this sadness, how can I serve myself and how can I serve others? Do I want to deposit that sadness? I can decide, you know what, I'm going to look at this as a message. So if I want to take a breath and say, okay, sadness is just a feeling. I'll feel it now, I'll feel it again, but I don't have to get lost in it. I don't have to claim it. I can say, thank you for showing up and reminding me what this feels like. But now I want to release that and I want to replace it with love. And I want to feel a love. What would love feel like if I sent it through my whole body? What if I make believe if I don't even know how to do it? What if I just make believe? I could send love through my whole body. And then when I exhale, beautiful pink light comes out and it sprinkles everybody with glitter. And everybody all of a sudden they get a charge. That they don't know why. Have you ever had a moment where, I feel so good, I don't know why? Maybe
Absolutely.
That's because somebody sprinkled some love on me.
Oh.
So maybe I can sprinkle some love on somebody else.
Wow.
And hope that it gets there.
That is beautiful. And imagine a world if just a few of us, but imagine a world if everybody did that, Lois. Yes. I want to live in that world, right?
Well, we can create that world.
Amen.
We are creating that world.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Tell us about where they can connect with you online.
Well, if they just go to loiskramerperez.com, LoisKramerperez.com, everything you need to find is there. Events, 3 30-second vacations, little mini videos. They guide you to take 2 deep breaths and look at something beautiful, whether we're blowing a wish on a dandelion or looking at the rain or a sunrise. Easy stuff.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been such a joy. You're a beautiful light in the world, needed more than now than ever. So thank you, Lois, and take good care. All right.
Thank you, Christine.